It's a fact. Fashion designers love it when the temperature drops. Firstly, because winter collections are made up of more clothes than summer collections, and because when it comes to menswear, cold weather allows for a little more creativity. Truly talented designers excel no matter how limited their brief. At Yohji Yamamoto, the palette may be muted, but the interest lies in the details, in the graphic motifs, layers of fabric and straps. At Balmain, meanwhile, it's Olivier Roustin's second menswear offering.
My collection is a bit like the Louvre's art collection. The Paris Museum brings a wide range of cultures together that makes Paris what it is.
His collection aims to bring Parisian history to the runway.
I really wanted the new generation to get to know that really rich side of Paris. The things that have inspired us, the uniforms, the aristocracy, the wealthy families. But I wanted there to be a pop side to it too. It was important to me to really mix those different worlds and to give it all a military edge.
For the American Thom Browne, the way the clothes are presented is just as important as the clothes themselves. The frames in which the models appear are a reference to Magritte. The designer's work often calls to mind the work of the surrealist painter.
I like people to have their own interpretation of it too, but really the collection was the appreciation of perfection and imperfection. Like really wearing clothing so that it becomes really worn and aged, and sometimes the most aged things are the most beautiful.
Thom Browne's work is in part a celebration of 100 years of Dadaism, and he's not the only one to be inspired by the avant-garde movement. Japanese designer Masanori Morikawa has called his label Christian Dada. Today he's collaborating with legendary photographer Araki, whose interest in bondage caught the designer's eye.
Using like nostalgic silhouette, like a 90s, like 80s, who is Araki's generation, and then not too intense bondage, like luxury bondage, something.
Dries Van Noten is also stepping back in time, borrowing from the psychedelic aesthetic so beloved by Wes Wilson. The graphic designer's best known for creating the visuals for bands like the Grateful Dead during the late 1960s.
The clothes are meant, above all, to make you feel good. And for me to create something modern, you sometimes need to turn around and look at what's come before, to evaluate the past, to turn the past into something constructive. But you also need to look to the future.
Paul Smith too is borrowing heavily from the past, in part as a protest against the ever-increasing demands of the fashion calendar. This collection, just like the designer's first collections in the early 70s, is extremely vibrant.
Back to my roots is the main theme. So it's about effort, it's about doing things by hand, it's about more of a mix of pattern and embroidery and flowers, which of course I was doing many, many years ago. And so it's embracing my past, I suppose you'd call it.
The Andrea Crews collective celebrates diversity and street style in all its forms, with a decidedly unisex approach.
The neighborhood of Barbès in Paris was a big inspiration. We've always worked with the carpets and fabrics that you see everywhere there. Then when it comes to the styling, we combine all that with what the stylist Dada was doing in the early 80s in New York. The early years of graffiti, the start of hip-hop.
This winter, Pigalle is celebrating its 10th collection. It's all pastel tones with bright and beautiful silks.
There's a certain femininity in me that I wanted to convey. It's what keeps me balanced, because I'm a real boy. So that harmony, that synthesis between softness and the street, is to show that you don't just have to wear black.
Last up in this wintry parade of masculine fashion, Dior Homme. Since 2007, Dries Van Noten has been making men feel great.
I like the term comfort clothing, clothes you really feel good in, clothes you're not afraid to wear. The leathers have been treated in a way that makes them less precious. The embroidery gives it all a slightly harder edge. So there's a lot of contrast, a lot of denim, a lot of knitwear that makes it all very easy to wear.
But what did the front row make of it?
The pants look painted at some points, I think. And it was a style that you know, it's a lot like the show. It speaks to like an urban youth.
Yes, Gothic style.
Kind of revoltish, right?
Okay.
Like not revolting, but it's got this. This independent, revolutionary flair to it.
Beautiful.
Roses, one of Christian Dior's most iconic motifs, appear throughout the collection.
You know what I like about Chris's collection is I think that it kind of takes back, it reminds me of like that Russian like skinhead punk aesthetic with the oversized trousers, with the loose bottoms and whatnot. I really love the bondage with the metal. I'm actually wearing some of the runway pieces myself right now, if you haven't noticed, but we'll get back to that. Stay up here, this pretty face. I'm just joking at you. Yeah, sure, man.
This winter menswear will be full of contrast, with more than a few playful touches to shake things up.